Alright guys, what's up and welcome to another Quadron analysis. If you don't know me, I'm Q Quadron Quad, whatever you want to call me, and I am about a 4300 rank MMR player, and I'm really into analyzing and learning heroes and getting better at them. And so we're going to be looking at Crissy's Timbersaw today from Eye of Tiger, and this is in the recent Nexon Championship. And I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm not going to talk about which game this is from or anything like that. But this is, I thought, a really interesting Timbersaw game. One thing, like, I'm gonna focus it primarily for more advanced players. So this isn't going to be like a beginner's guide to Timbersaw, like blah blah blah. But I will go over some of the basics, but only as I need to, like, kind of make sense as I move forward. So right off the bat, we see him picking up a magic stick, which is a fantastic counter to Bristleback. And you see him also right there using his Whirling Death. And the important thing that you've always got to remember is that Whirling Death deals not only pure damage if a tree is cut, but it removes 7 stat of the primary stat for the hero. So you see how much damage that does to Eos in there. It's pretty freaking insane. Because 7 stat on a strength hero, that's 17 health per stat, so you're looking at 7 times 10, 49, roughly 119 extra damage from the stat loss. Plus, you've got the pure damage if you break down a tree. So against a level 1 Whirling Death against a strength hero does 100 plus 117, 217 damage. And keep in mind the stat loss is only temporary, so the important thing when you're using Whirling Death and you're trying to utilize the stat loss against the strength hero is that you always want to use Whirling Death right before you do additional damage. So you always want to use Whirling Death first. That's the first ability you want to use. That'll reduce his overall stats, allowing you to reduce his overall percentage of health, so that way when the stats are regained, it'll do more damage. So if you notice, he does his right clicks after he reduces the stats. That way when he gains the stats back, it'll actually, he'll get less health. Now, it's really smart for Eosin to actually pop the salve during the stat loss, because that'll actually give him more return, 117 extra health return. So, for example, if he had only, like, if he had 500 damage dealt to him and he salved after the stat loss, like that extra 100 damage that was dealt to him through stat loss would be able to be re-healed automatically if he got up to full health before the stat loss returned. The stats that were lost were returned. So just something to keep in mind whenever you're playing against the Timbersaws, that you can kind of take advantage of it a lot like Power Treads to heal up better and stuff like that. But this game in particular, I really want to analyze Crissy's item choices and his hero positioning, because I thought that they were just, like, really, really excellent this game. Really, really impressed with his play overall, and I really want to get better at Timbersaw too. So, like, this is like a pretty big deal. He's almost bought the boots there, but resold the boots back to get the energy booster, which I think is the right call. Much better to have a larger mana pool. It'll also allow you to gain a lot more back from your stick charges, because you'll be able to drop the energy booster temporarily, and then pick up your energy booster again, and then you'll be able to get that extra mana from it. So now, if he were to actually do that, I'm not sure if he'll do it or not, but that'd be awesome. So like I said, so if you haven't seen one of my replay analysis yet, I've done a few. Done one on Lone Druid, done one on Admiral Bulldog playing Lone Druid, and then I also did one on S4 playing Puck. And I don't think that either of those videos are perfect. I'm still working on my analysis, and I'm looking to get better. So if you have any feedback, please feel free to let me know, and I probably will post this up to the subreddit for Dota 2, which I follow that religiously, like, check it every day, and I've made multiple posts up there, and I really appreciate you guys up there, and any feedback you guys have for me. So continuing on, he's almost got his magic or arcane boots, and it's interesting that he's maxing this Whirling Death, and I think the reason that he chooses to max Whirling Death this game, I think Timbersaw is one of those heroes that you can choose to max different things depending on the game. And I think that comes down to the choice of what heroes you're going against. In this particular game, he's playing against 4 strength heroes. If you'll notice, there's a Wisp, there's Bristleback, a CK, and a Dragon Knight. So some really insane, basically some really strength heroes that that stat loss of Whirling Death is going to just provide tremendous amounts of damage, because they're going to lose that. They're like basically Whirling Death against a strength hero is going to give you 250 plus the 7 stat loss, so 117, and basically that's 117 damage. Was it 119? I don't know. It's around that. Basically, that damage is going to be like 100% pure damage. Like if you can kill them during that stat loss, it'll basically just help them die faster. Obviously, if they get their health back, if they get the stat loss stats back before they die, it's not going to be as effective as perhaps maxing the Timber Chain. But basically, maxing Whirling Death allows you to burst down heroes tremendously faster than doing a Timber Chain, or maxing. Obviously, reactive armor is not going to help you offensively. It's a very defensive ability. So, like I said, Whirling Death is incredible. If you can get, like, for example, if you can break down trees, that's going to be 250 pure damage plus the 117 damage, and so that's just going to be really, really insane. So, in this early phase, I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to have to add. Like, I really, like, if I need to, I'll just go ahead and skip ahead, but I really want to focus on his use of the Blink Dagger and taking advantage of that as a Timbersaw. It's like one of the first times I've ever seen a Timbersaw pick up a Blink Dagger, and I thought he just used it to really, really good effect, because basically, like I'm talking about the stat loss and the pure damage you get from Whirling Death. Well, Whirling Death, it's a really good ability, but it's got a very short range. You see, like right around him, you can see the circle. It's only, basically, it's within melee range almost. So you have to be in really, really good position to use it. So he uses the Whirling Death right away at the beginning there. And I'm not sure if they're going to go on this. Oh, no, it's actually Purge that's here. Okay, so I thought that it might have been rotating around for Timbersaw, but Timbersaw's just doing tremendous damage there. And again, using that stat loss, doing additional damage during the stat loss, that's going to maximize your damage as a Timbersaw. I think pure damage will go through Bristleback passive. If damage is hit on the side or rear, Bristleback takes from rear. The commentators of the game definitely thought that pure damage went through the damage reduction. And holy crap, look at that. That right there is the stat reduction. If that was an intelligence or agility hero, he would not have just killed him right there. But that 119 extra damage coming out from Whirling Death, it's just, oh, it's insane. Basically, Bristleback, I think, at least the stat loss obviously goes through the passive on Bristleback, and right now it's only a 24% damage reduction, which I mean, it honestly doesn't sound like a lot, but it does make a pretty big difference at this point in the game. But really getting that maxed out to 40% it just pays a lot more dividends for Bristleback. But at this point, he's not that insanely tanky yet. So he's just farming up. Most likely, if I remember the game correctly, he does go for a Bloodstone. I mean, this is pretty much standard build on Timbersaw. You kind of need to go for the Bloodstone. I think there's a number of reasons why Bloodstone's a really, really great pickup on him. So for those of you who are, kind of curious about item pickup potentials, you can obviously go for something else. I mean, I feel like obviously Arcanes are absolutely core on him. He deals 100% of his damage through spells. Increasing that mana pool and getting that extra regen is going to be absolutely important. I'm trying to think if there's any other items you could really go for besides a Bloodstone, and I don't know. Let me think about it. Obviously, a Sheep Stick's amazing. You could go for Arcane's Magic Wand Vanguard into Sheep. Maybe? I don't know. I don't think that would be that great, honestly. I think Bloodstone's just like, it's really core. I would only go maybe that kind of route if you're having a really terrible game and yet your team is doing really well, so you just need to kind of tank up. But even then, I mean, Bloodstone's just such an amazing item on Timbersaw that I feel like you kind of have to go for it. But this right here, the suggested items is actually core. This is like pretty standard. So Mana Boots into Magic Wand into Bloodstone, and then oftentimes it'll be either a Blade Mail or a Sheep Stick next. That's probably the two most standard items, and if not a Blade Mail, probably for sure a Sheep Stick. So anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back to player perspective on Crissy. Okay, so he is trying to take out the the DK, and that's Blitz. Fortunately, Blitz goes down here. So again, Wisp is a strength hero, which is, he's like the squishiest strength hero out there, and for that reason, Timbersaw just murders Wisp, because that stat loss plus the pure damage coming out, and Wisp oftentimes having a very, very low health pool by default. The only way Wisp will have a high health pool is he gets some kind of insane HP boost, or has a really high level compared to the Timbersaw, but that's obviously not going to happen because almost any game, Wisp is always in a dual lane, because Wisp sucks at solo lane, so he's almost always behind in levels. So Timbersaw is basically always going to have a huge advantage over the Wisp. And so this is one particular game where, like, the Wisp is just food for a Timbersaw. And I mean, honestly, all of these strength heroes could potentially be food. So Blitz is getting picked up again in mid, and that's too bad for him. And I will say these, Eye of Tiger just did a great job with their overall team initiation and follow-up this entire game. So that's something that I really want to be watching, kind of as in terms of analyzing the team itself. But beyond that, like, I'm really interested in watching Crissy's individual choices, and why he does what he does, and how I can apply that to my own Timbersaw play. And I have been playing Timbersaw quite a bit lately. I've played 5 games in the last couple of games, or 5 games in the last couple of days. And so, like, I really want to learn and try to figure this guy out. So looks like Bristleback picked up a Vanguard. That's one of the best heroes to get a Vanguard, period. Probably that and Axe are probably the 2 best heroes, because they just rely on their abilities to deal damage. So building damage on either of those is not necessarily the best way to do it, so building survivability helps a lot. So Timbersaw, going top, he's got most of his Bloodstone done, and this is only 12 minutes of the game. He's basically been free farming. So right there, throws out the Chakram, Timber Chains in, and uses his Whirling Death. And does it all so perfectly. Really great job. Again, Chakram slows him down for like 2 seconds. Then he goes, deals the damage with Whirling Death and pulls the Chakram back in and just murders Purge there. And I'm a big fan of Purge. That's why I was watching this game. I think obviously this is not the most popular tournament in Nexon, but I think it was a great series, and I definitely recommend picking up a Dota 2 ticket. I was happy to buy a Dota 2 ticket. I enjoyed the tournament a lot, so big props to the tournament. I definitely recommend picking it up. Back to the Timbersaw. Timbersaw is just, he's getting his Bloodstone, so he just dropped his Mana Boots and remade that into the Bloodstone. So if you don't know, you can disassemble your Arcanes and get the Energy Booster and use that in your Bloodstone. I think that's, I mean, that's something that I think only the more basic players that are newer to Dota wouldn't know already. But if you didn't know, that's definitely what he just did there. It allows you to get your Bloodstone up a little bit sooner. So this to me is one of the most ideal starts for a Timbersaw. You've got your Bloodstone at the 13-minute mark. You've got a lineup filled with strength heroes that are basically, Timbersaw is like the counters to strength period in this game. So it looks like Corey and Sexy Bamboo coming in on the Wisp, and this is a great. So far, it's gone really well for Eye of Tiger, but here comes the Timbersaw coming from behind, and again, he's always waiting to use that. Oh, he missed. Okay, so Cast there just totally whiffed the Echo Slam. They would have definitely picked up the CK, but he just wasn't quite close enough to get the Echo stun. But so that was okay for Zephyr. I would say probably the trade is a little bit better, obviously, for a Wisp for a Kunkka mid, so support for a mid player. Overall pretty good, but they did use Wisp ulti for that, and they honestly, I would have thought that Zephyr could have got a little bit more from that, but Eye Tiger did a good job of creating space and backing off properly at the right time. So now, one thing that they do extremely well, I think, in this game is comboing their different hero abilities. So, for example, Earthshaker dropping that fissure in from a distance, and then Timbersaw jumping in ahead, like ahead of his team, basically, at the tip of the fissure or right wherever the enemy is. And notice what he's doing here. He's hanging back away from the creep wave, not letting CK know that he's there, and then he walks up and CK instantly backs off, thinking that maybe it's a gank. And so right now they're feigning, and I don't think they're going to be able to get a kill here, because Wisp will be able to just TP him away. And Sexy Bambo actually grabs the CK and starts to TP him away, and then Corey's probably just like, no, leave me, I'm okay, I'm okay. And so Sexy Bambo just wastes the Wisp ulti. I don't know if they actually saw that. I think they did. I'm pretty sure that it's announced globally whenever Wisp teleports. So looks like I have Tiger doing a rotation top right now. And one thing I think is really interesting right now is that these supports, they're just, at this point in the game, they're like non-stop roaming, trying to get kills. The Weaver is farming, the Kunkka is farming, but Timbersaw, Earthshaker, and CM are just non-stop going for it. So right there you see the Earth Fissure coming up. You got the stat loss from Timbersaw, from the Whirling Death, and they didn't get the kill, but yeah, that shows the power of the Vanguard right there. But still a really good initiation. I guess the Kunkka wasn't quite in range to pull off her stuff. But oh my goodness! Did you see how fast? That's a DK! DK just got blown up. Now DKs are known for being extremely tanky, but they're not that tanky against magical damage, obviously, because they don't have anything special. But they have really high armor, really high HP regen naturally. So I'm not sure if he's going to get out of this or not. Nope. So they managed to lock him down, and that stun from CK and that Reality Rift does a ton of damage. Great play there from Rory. I think that's a Rory. I don't know. But they're going after this CK. Really, that was great. Okay, so Timbersaw's already back. Oh my gosh. Just waiting where the X marks the spot just to blow him up. So the Bloodstone there charges. He had enough charges to get him to respawn almost instantly. I think he had at least 9 or 10. And this is early enough in the game to where he's going to basically come back instantly, because his respawn timer is only like 50 seconds. So Wisp TPing behind the lines and actually picking up the Kunkka. And then getting away. That's a pretty nice play, honestly, from Sexy Bambo. Obviously, I think it's kind of risky, because what if the supports had been right there with Kunkka? He would have just, for example, if CM had been there, she would have just frostbit the Wisp, and the Wisp would have just died. So there you see some really classy jungling. So really classy jungling. But how he's using the Chakram, along with Whirling Death, and then his Timber Chain, was just really, really efficient there, killing that camp. How he was walking around, and obviously his positioning. He Timber Chains away more towards safety rather than obviously towards the enemy base. So just smart jungling there. So it looks like he's gonna do some more jungling. So, and again, if you notice, he purposely walked over to where he was going to cut trees down with his Whirling Death, so that way the magic resistance did not get applied. It became pure damage. Because that's one of the things that you can maximize your damage from Whirling Death by killing trees at the same time. So if you have the choice of positioning yourself on this side or this side of the hero, it's always better to position yourself where you can also put down a tree. So they are they just took out the Earthshaker, and they're trying to obviously pick up the Timbersaw, but that's I don't know. To me, it's pretty much impossible unless you got a whole team focusing him. But instead, they also they used the stuns on the Earthshaker. So if they had stunned Timbersaw, maybe they might have got him. I don't know. There was only 2 of them there, but if Wisp and DK had Wisp teleported in, they might have been able to pick him up. But I don't know. He's really tanky. So this is the point in the game that I find like really interesting, because he's finally got his Blink Dagger, and this is like the best use of Blink Dagger I've ever seen on a Timbersaw. So so let's see what he does. So he drops that in, uses the Whirling Death. He still hasn't used the Blink Dagger, and he didn't even need to use it there. He's saving it in case he needs to pursue someone else or try to catch somebody else out. Grabs another TP scroll.
Dire structures are fortified.
And now I think it was really interesting listening to the commentary from Clairvoyance and the Capitalist on this. They were very, very skeptical about this Blink Dagger. They would much rather have him get a Shiva's or a Sheepstick. And I was agreeing with them, the whole time, and that's mostly because, I mean, obviously with reactive armor, he can be really tanky, but when you don't have any charges in reactive armor built up, hero damage, if the hero damage is the one building up the charges on the reactive armor, you just don't have very much armor. Right now, he's only got base armor of 3, so basically no armor at all. But when he's got that max 16 charges, that's obviously a crap ton of armor. But you don't always have that, so it really helps to get some nice base armor, you know, just like plus 10 armor from like a plate mail, Shiva's, whatever you can, like a blade mail will give you, I think, plus 5 armor. So anything to give you plus armor is really, really good on Timbersaw, just to help you your tankiness, help your natural tankiness transition into the natural tankiness that you get from the reactive armor. Sorry, I'm trying to explain this probably a little bit too fast. I'm gonna slow down a little bit, but so I cannot remember what he goes next. Obviously, as Shiva's is great, like I said, because it gives you that base armor, so that way it gives you a chance for reactive armor to catch up and increase your HP regen and all that stuff even more so. Right now, I think the important thing right now is that Timbersaw, he's not risking anything. He's playing very safe. He's not diving. And he's trying to stick with his team because his team is a very kill-oriented lineup. They're not very farmy, except for maybe Weaver and Conka. Like once Timbersaw gets a Bloodstone, it's all about fighting. Like it's no longer about jungling or doing anything like that. And so, looks like they did have an Observer Ward there. And so they were able to view that they were taking it, but they did not transition in time to stop it. Which, to me, I'm a little bit surprised, but because they were all kind of in the mid lane already. I feel like they would have, I don't know, they must not have been looking at the minimap or something. But they definitely had a Radiant Observer Ward put down in the minimap right over here. And so, I don't know.
Top tower is under attack.
A little bit weird, but yeah, so Intive. Looks like he just picked up a plate mail, and again, the plate mail is probably the biggest survivability pickup after the Bloodstone, because you only have 3 armor by default, and once you get your plate mail, you'll have 13 armor, and having that 13 armor will just basically make it take pretty much literally twice as many clicks to kill you. I haven't done the exact math, but that's what I would roughly estimate for going from 3 armor up to 10 armor, and if it's just straight hero clicks. And so it's an insanely good pickup. And so he's going to be going Shiva's next. At least that's what he has in the recipe. And the only other option with the plate mail is what, like I think just AC, I think. So yeah, plate mail is an amazing pickup on Timbersaw, and it'll really help him survive these next team fights. He's just trying to get, right now he's just trying to play safe, not die, build those charges on the Bloodstone. And continue farming as he can, and he's, you know, again, trying to play really safe. So I might skip ahead here until the next team fight.
Middle tower, everyone go now.
Yes, I think so. Let's just skip ahead here. All right, so I'm gonna try to watch for when the heroes are coming together. Okay, so they just smoked. They're going towards mid, and if you're ever playing against a CK Wisp lineup, it's almost always better to go for the CK Wisp lineup, because it's basically, if you go for the DK Chen Bristleback on the bottom down here, basically they're always going, Wisp and CK are always going to be able to join the other 3. So if you're ever trying to go up against a Wisp CK lineup, you almost always want to try to kill the Wisp and CK, so that way you know it's always going to be a fair fight. Like if they have heroes in another part of the map, they're not going to be able to join the Wisp and CK. But if you go for the heroes in the other area of the map, Wisp and CK will probably be able to jump in, jump your supports in the back, and it's bad news bears. So you almost always want to go for the Wisp and CK. So I'm trying to say, obviously. All right, so right now he's probably, in his mind, he's probably trying to figure out, well, where can I go to if I can jump this. And it looks like EoT.Tiger just are going to choose not to engage that, not to try to save the tower, which is, I think, a good choice, because the Wisp and CK could instantly TP in again, like if they're engaging around this tower. I'll just go ahead and switch to free camera for a minute. If they're engaging around this tower, you've got, you know, basically, you know, Chen and Bristleback and Dragon Knight right here. And then now imagine Wisp and CK, and you've got the Eye of Tiger heroes right here, all clumped up. And you've got the CK coming in right here. Like, just jumping in the background, popping his ultimate, popping, I don't know if he has Manta, I don't think he does. I don't think he goes for Manta this game. But, and he has an Aegis right now. So, so it'd be really, really bad to have them pop in the back, pop the CK ultimate and all that crap. So I'm going to get back to the player perspective. Yeah, they're just farming up right now. I'm going to go ahead and zoom forward again, past the farm wars.
Green Dude's top and is about to get knocked over. Okay.
So I have Tiger decide that basically, I mean, let's go ahead and take a look at the gold gap really quick. Zephyr are winning the gold lead by about 4,000. Even though Eye of Tiger has a 15 to 11 kill lead, they've just been farming better. I think that comes down to their roaming and their goal to just like constantly gank with the Timbersaw and the CM. So right there you see a great initiation from Earthshaker. Timbersaw blinking in, using that Whirling Death to reduce stats, and then they drop the rest of their magical combo before they can even pop their BKBs. So there's BKB done on CK, there's BKB done on DK, and there you go again, dropping the Earth Fissure, kiting, using the Whirling Death. He tried to Timber Chain away, but he got stunned by the CK. And great job there, jumping up, throwing the Chakram, picking off the DK, and helping kill the Chen really quickly. Now, the Timbersaw did get picked off, but that's not a huge deal, simply because he does have all of those Bloodstone charges. So he'll be back in like 15 seconds. He's almost respawned already. And I think he even comes back in time to get into this fight. Yeah, he's already back. He's TPing the mid tower. And this Wisp, I think this Wisp could have saved the... let's see, does Wisp have ulti? No, the Wisp had his ulti on cooldown, which is really unfortunate, so he wasn't able to save Corey. And I think he may have been able to tether him there. I can't remember. I think that may have been a mistake from Sexy Bambo. Honestly, it felt like Zephyr had kind of an issue with their nerves. And I don't know. Like right now, Sexy Bambo is kind of trying to harass this Timbersaw, or trying to harass these guys out of the lane over here by the steps, and this is just silly. So he just pops that. He pops that that Whirling Death, and waits for them to come off cooldown. Kunkka uses X mark the spot, and man, just look at that. The positioning he gets from that Blink Dagger allowed him to just do tremendous damage to that Wisp, and even if that Wisp had tethered away, he still would have died, simply because the Timbersaw would have just been like, okay, you tethered away, but guess what? I have Blink, and I can still drop my Whirling Death on you. I can blink to a position where I can Timber Chain through you as I throw my Chakram out. So every 12 seconds, I get to do my full combo on you, no matter where you are. Like even if you're like, there's no trees on the other side of you currently, I can just blink to the other side of you and Timber Chain away. So now the Earthshaker has a Blink Dagger. They just destroyed the DK there just by Blink Initiation through the Earthshaker and jumping in with the Timbersaw, Whirling Death, and Chakram, and Timber Chain, and bam, dead hero. And they're basically, they're stun locked to where they can't even activate their BKB. There's so much burst with this Blink Dagger. I mean, I think it's just, I think this build should almost always be standard on Timbersaw now. Like as I analyze it, and like maybe I just haven't seen many Blink Takers, but I don't think it's very common, and I think it needs to be a lot more common because it's just a tremendous item pickup. Just allowing you to get the positioning you need to get your Timber Chains off and apply your Whirling Death with the pure damage against a tree. Throw out your Chakram. I mean, it's fantastic. So yeah, he's now got a Shiva's Guard. He picked up the Ultimate Orb. The Ultimate Orb's probably going to be for a Sheep Stick, I would imagine. And a lot of Timbersaws just keep the bare brown boots now at this point to the end of the game, or at least until you get your Boots of Travel. If you ever get to the point where you think it's better to invest in Boots of Travel. And honestly, personally, I think Boots of Travel would have been a better pickup than the Ultimate Orb for two reasons. It allows you to save money. And again, blowing up Blitz with the combo. Whirling Death, Blink Dagger, Timber Chain, Chakram, Earthshaker doing his full combo, and that's just insane. So what I was saying was I think the Boots of Travel is a better pickup on Timbersaw for 2 reasons. Because it gives you the additional movement speed, increases your movement speed by 45, and Timbersaw is all about positioning, all about kiting, all about catching up to people to use your abilities. And so having Boots of Travel is really good for that reason, and also it just saves money because you don't have to buy TPs. And on top of that, the other reason to get Boots of Travel instead of the Ultimate Orb at this point in the game is that you have 14 charges in your Bloodstone, which means you're almost going to instantly respawn when you die, meaning that you're going to be able to teleport back to the fight almost instantly. So if you're pressing their tower, you need those Boots of Travels to get back to the fight right away. So the Boots of Travel is just a tremendous pickup with a high level charge Bloodstone on Timbersaw. So that's my thought, is that it'd be much better pickup than the Sheep Stick. It's only 2,000 gold. It's a much better investment. Timbersaw, again, jumping through the DK, Earthshaker jumping in. Now the Earthshaker does get picked off. He's really fragile, low HP. And even if the Timbersaw goes down here, which he does not, even though he was being focused by the CK and the Bristleback, and I think the Chen was also focusing him down, but just really tanky at this point. That's the Plate Mail and the extra armor coming out from the Shiva's Guard, the extra HP from the Bloodstone, and the extra HP from the Ultimate Orb. So, I mean, the Ultimate Orb is obviously not, I think, great, because it's just... it's one of the most stat inefficient items in the game, but beyond that, it's just not as good a pickup as Boots of Travel would be. But just doing some harassment there. He knows he doesn't have enough burst to fully kill the Bristleback, and in order to kill him, the Bristleback would have to be near trees probably for him to continue chasing, and this is the middle of the base, so he wisely backs off, doesn't continue going. So Eye of Tiger now able to pick up that Rax, and I think going into this game, I was predicting that Zephyr would win. I really liked their lineup more. They had the CK, nice stun from the CK, great reliable stun from the DK as well. They're both extremely tanky, and ordinarily, I would say that even if like an Earthshaker got off his combo, and even if a normal Timbersaw player was playing, I think I would favor the Zephyr lineup in this draft. Just comparing draft to draft. But after seeing how Crissy plays his Timbersaw and seeing how well he uses the Whirling Death and uses that Blink Dagger, it's brutal. And how well he combos it too, using the teamwork of the Earthshaker to basically stun lock them, prevent them from popping BKB at the beginning of the fight, get them down to half HP, run away, and then re-engage when BKB is off cooldown, because he can disengage and re-engage at will with the Blink Dagger and using his Timber Chain to get away. And right now he has 17 blood charges, and he can even just throw out the Chakram and just keep it out there because he's regenerating his mana faster than the Chakram requires mana. So like for example, Chakram requires only 30 mana cost per second, so he's gaining 3 mana per second whenever he has it out there. Pretty insane. Pretty freaking insane. And at 17 Bloodstone charges, I think he auto respawns instantly unless he has like a buyback deficit timer. So now I'd say Boots of Travel is definitely would have been a better pickup than the Ultimate Orb, but he is really close to that Sheep Stick. I mean, a completed Sheep Stick's obviously going to be better than Boots of Travel, just because it allows for that additional lockdown and additional disable for especially right clickers like CK and DK and Bristleback. And especially against Bristleback, the Sheep is amazing because it takes away that the damage resistance that Bristleback has from the back. Once he is sheeped up, the Bristleback passive does not apply. It looks like Eye of Tiger going to be smoking up, and he's blinking up. I guess he's just going to passively farm as they go through with this smoke gank. And I think they were drawing on the minimap, I believe, kind of saying they were going to wrap around. And I do not remember what happens here. I know Eosin kind of is out of position right now. At the very least, they're going to use this to drop down some additional wards, and they already have fantastic warding. If you'll notice, they've got a ward at Roshan on this mid lane in 2 different spots, and now at the mid lane, the bottom lane as well. And there you go. There's another example of fantastic burst, dropping that Timber Chain, or dropping that Blink Dagger, Earth Fissure, Whirling Death, Timber Chain through them, Chakram, and it doesn't even matter. They don't have the sheep stick yet, but if they had a sheep stick there, they would just blow up Bristleback like probably like almost 50% faster because of the damage passive. So now Zephyr has to get back because they obviously are down a player right now, but they did a good job pulling Eye of Tiger back right now. And I think what was kind of really silly about this is right now with the Wisp and CK are trying to do a kind of sneaky Roche, and they use the Wisp teleport relocate to do it, which has a giant red animation for where you're going to teleport to. So it was just really silly that they would try to Wisp teleport into Roshan to start Roshan. Like come on, man. Like, you should know better than that. Like, I don't know what they're thinking. Obviously, if you're going to go Roshan, smoking into it is by far the best way to do it. And I think, honestly, I feel like if you're going to do Roshan, you want to kind of either 5-man it or try to sneak it with 2 or 3 that's smoked in or blinked in without being seen. So that's to me, and then you have like some other people on the map in different places to make them think that you're not roshing. That's like the best way to rosh, but that was just silly. So that being said, Blinken using the Whirling Death, good Timber Chain. There's very few trees in the city, so that was a very excellent Timber Chain. So this is the tricky part. At this point in time, if you're playing Timbersaw, you've got to back up. Like, they have they just activated their BKBs. They're looking to stun people. They're looking to initiate on you, and you're a prime target, probably the prime target. So there he goes, getting initiated on by the CK. Great counter initiation coming out from the Earthshaker. Good positioning. And it looks like the Earthshaker's got himself a Ghost Scepter. That's an excellent pickup against these guys, just simply because he does not have that very many hit points. The Ghost Scepter's going to give him that extra HP, and if he ever gets focused, he can just pop that Ghost Scepter, and no more physical damage to him. And looks like the Wisp was looking to catch him out, and he was not able to do so. Just got a text message. I'll put that aside for a minute. Oh, unfortunately, Mud Golems. Now, Bloodstone only gives you additional charges per second based on the mana, not on the HP, which is kind of unfortunate. But Timbersaw still has the full capabilities of, I think, yeah. So he's got Aegis, so he's not too worried about this. But yeah, if that had been a lower level stun, and if CK hadn't popped his ultimate, like CK just popped his ultimate, that was basically a waste of CK ultimate, in my opinion. I think I don't know. I guess CK would have died probably almost for sure there, because the Aegis would have popped up, then Crissy would have just blinked up to where CK was, and then did a Timber Chain Whirling Death and would have killed CK. So it probably was a smart idea to pop his ultimate there and just trigger the Aegis. Triggering Aegis is never a bad thing. Obviously, I think Roshan. How close is Roshan to respawn? Let's check that really quick. So Roshan, that was actually a very new Aegis. Still had another 3.5 minutes when it got procced. So it would have been better to obviously not lose the Aegis, but it was a decent choice on CK's part to make sure he didn't die, to ensure that he didn't die. Right now, Zephyr is trying to turtle this out. They know that if they get enough damage items and enough HP on their carries, that they will eventually be able to out-carry what the Timbersaw does. Because the Timbersaw basically does this burst damage. Every 8 seconds or so, it was 6 to 8 seconds. Obviously, Timber Chain's only a 4-second cooldown, but Whirling Death is an 8-second cooldown. And Chakram is an 8-second cooldown. So every 8 to 6 seconds, they do a giant combo. So right there, just perform the combo. Wisp doing a great job healing. That was a tremendous heal to help keep Corey alive. Corey was almost dead there. But they just blew up the Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight, I think, against this kind of a team, I don't think the AC is worth it at all. Like, if he had instead of going for an Assault Cuirass and a Multilinear, like if he had just picked up, oh my goodness, that's a great combo there. Of course, popping the Shiva adds to the burst that he can do, reducing everything. So in terms of I'll talk about item build after the fight's over. Nice reality rift, picking up that CM very quickly. Good stuns, keeping him locked down. And I don't know if this Earthshaker is going to make it out, but good Ghost Scepter usage. Yeah, he managed. Earthshaker managed to get out. Very nice. And right now, they're kind of at a loss. Team Zephyr's at a loss. How do they get kills when they use, like CK, he uses his stun and he still can't kill them during the time that the stun's going off. So yeah, so big deal, I think. Really big bummer for Zephyr here in this game. And I think it does come down to some of the item choices. So Blitz in this game has been blown up at least 5 or 6 times simply because he didn't have enough HP. Now, having a BKB gives him another 170 HP. It's a little bit. The treads are fine. That's the correct choice. It's going to give him that extra HP. But he gets a Mollinear and a Mollinear. I don't fuck me. Okay, what I always say this wrong. So I think it's Mollinear. So he gets this Mollinear and Molline. I can't. This is really bugging me. Basically, he gets this item. He gets this item instead of, I think, a heart. I think a heart would have been an incredible pickup this game. Like, I know that he needs damage as well, but in these fights, he just doesn't have enough HP to survive. And it's not like they're coming out with much physical DPS other than from the Weaver. And the Weaver is honestly not doing that much. Let's check the Weaver's inventory. For most of this game, he hasn't had much, but right now he does have a Deso. And he's looking like he's going into a butterfly. But the Dragon Knight just doesn't have enough HP to survive these kinds of engagements. He's just bursted down before he can even move or pop the BKB or do anything. So yeah, I think a much better pickup would have been to get just pure HP. So interesting TP. Wisp PK coming in the background, in the back, trying to survive, or trying to surprise them. Oh, another thing that would have been amazing is some kind of basher or an abyssal to lock down this Weaver. But good pickup on the a great pickup there on the Timbersaw. Timbersaw buys Boots of Travel, comes right back instantly with his charges, and they call it GG. And he's already got 16 charges again, so he's almost instantly going to come back again. And that's it. So I think this game came down to fantastic positioning from Eye of Tiger, and just I think some poor item choices. I think Dragon Knight was going to be going for that AC. I think Corey picked it up instead. And so Blitz was like, well, what do I do with this attacking? I don't know what I'm thinking, but it's that stone, that Hyperstone. Sorry. The Hyperstone that gives you the attack speed. And so he had this Hyperstone, and he's like, what do I build this into? So he built a Mollinear instead of an HP item. Like, he was going to try to build tankiness with the AC, and instead he builds this Mollinear, and it's just not good at all. So I think if he had gotten an HP item there, a Heaven's Halberd, potentially maybe like I said, a heart, even a bat. I don't know if a Basher would have been very good on. Basher's not good on Dragon Knight, but maybe on CK, Basher might have helped them to lock down some of the heroes. I think they just had some great mobility heroes between Weaver and Timbersaw, and of course the Blink Dagger on Earthshaker as well. And that just, they couldn't get the pickoffs they needed when they got, like, when they actually stunned somebody. When CK stunned somebody like Timbersaw, they just couldn't kill him during the stun duration, so they didn't have enough lockdown to actually plow through Eye of Tiger, even though they had the HP. And so then Eye of Tiger would just disengage for like 10 seconds until all their spells are off cooldown, or until the BKBs were off, and then they just re-engage again and murder Zephyr. And so I think, like I said, I think that pure HP would have been the better choice. Pure HP plus armor would have been a far better choice for Zephyr. And obviously BKBs are important, but I think prioritizing HP over at least the Mollinear would have been really important. And then obviously, I don't know, the pipe is a really great pickup. And again, a Bristleback, I do feel like you just go for that raw HP. I think BKB sometimes is overvalued in the pro scene. And I think this is one of those games where you're literally being killed before you can pop BKB. Where if you had a heart instead, you would have lived through it and been able to continue fighting during the burst and past the burst, and all of a sudden you're through it and you're out the other side. So I don't know, maybe a Satanic would have been a much better pickup for Dragon Knight because it'll allow him to build into damage, give him armor, and then also give him a tremendous amount of HP. I don't know, maybe that would have been the perfect item after the BKB was done. I don't know. That's just some of my thoughts on the game. I hope you enjoyed the Timbersaw analysis. That's who I was trying to focus on this game. I think, like I said, I think I'm going to be picking up Blink Dagger on my Timbersaw if I'm ever snowballing like that. Bloodstone, Blink Dagger into the Shivas and Sheep. I think it was just really, really well played. So props to Crissy, props to Eye of Tiger for the fantastic win. And I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. Please do give me feedback on my analysis / casting. And I do want to get better. I just got a mic, and so let me know if there's any mic issues. I might have noticed a little bit of popping. I am self-monitoring this, so I might get a kind of one of those breath filters to help prevent any popping on the mic. But anyway, guys, Quadron / Brandon Baldwin heading out. I hope you enjoyed this analysis / cast, and I will be bringing you more Dota 2 content soon, so be sure to subscribe if you're interested in getting some more analysis, replays, tips, gameplay analysis, that kind of thing for Dota 2. So yeah, peace out, guys, and I will talk to you later.